Hello, everybody. So I was hoping to come around and speak to you all about the computing assessment sheets, but obviously my uncle had other ideas, so I thought it'd be easier to put it into a video, and then I guess if there's a time later in the year when you're unsure of what you need to do, hopefully you can come back to the video and make sense of it. So you're going to have shared with you this set of folders on Google Drive. I'm just going to jump into year one and show you on one of the year one spreadsheets. Everyone knows that I love a good spreadsheet, and this is no exception. So I've created a spreadsheet that hopefully is going to be easy to use, quite intuitive, and shouldn't take very long at all to help you assess computing. So I'm going to jump into the 1S spreadsheet. Now, whichever spreadsheet you open, the very first thing you'll be faced with is this kind of very blank looking sheet. And it just says in here, fill in names in this column. All of the sheets will then automatically fill the names. So what that means is down at this column, column B, you're going to put in the names of the children in the class. So this is 1S, which just happens to be Olivia's class. So I can put in a few of the children that I know are in her class. That she speaks about, and so on. So yeah, let's go with those and start off with. So I've just put in 6 names in the B column, the names column. Now along the bottom here, you've got tabs for every half term, and each half term obviously has a different topic to cover in computing. So when I open up Autumn 1, just to show you what's happened with those names, they've automatically filled at the top here along this section. If I go on to Autumn 2, they're filled in there, and so on, all the way to Summer 2, they are filled in that section. Okay, if I jump back, I'll just add another child just so that you can see that happening. So let's put Olivia H in there, and let's do Molly. Now, if we jump onto this one, there you go, they're in there again. And as I say, let's jump into Spring 2. They're in there as well. So it adds them into everyone. So what that is really good for is if you ever have a new child joining the class, you just add the name to this list and it will automatically update. Similarly, if a child is no longer in the class, if a child leaves, if we just delete, let's delete those last 3, it will automatically take them off as well. Okay, so that's all you need to do on this sheet. Now let's jump to the sheet where we've got the assessment. I'm just going to take that off for a second and I'll talk you through what's on here. So I filled in pretty much every one. There's 1 or 2 exceptions. Year 3, for example, your Google one at the start of the year might just need a bit of tweaking for the objectives. But I've looked at the planning from the computing.org website and I've taken any ideas from any of the other plans or units that we cover. And I've put in objectives. These are suggested objectives. They might be ones to look at and think, actually, we don't really cover that in there. Or there might be ones that I've missed out that you think actually need adding on. That's absolutely fine. You can change these as you wish. If you just double press on them, then you can type in there, delete them, whatever you want to do with them. So you've got, so for this one example, there's 8 objectives. Some of them are very much kind of bulked together. You wouldn't do a lesson for each one. So to explain how technology can help us to find examples of technology in the classroom, those would very likely be in the same lesson. Okay, there might even be 3 or 4 that you'll teach in the same session. Down here, you've got the exact same objectives, so they kind of copy down, and then just in here, you've got a space to write any notes that if you feel needed from the lesson. So to explain how technology can help us, it might be all children are very good at this. We only spend 10 minutes on it, or something along those lines. Or it could be that the fire alarm went off, and you might want to make a note of that as to why it was a shorter session. Or it might be covered in a different lesson. So anything like that, you can just make a note of it. You don't have to fill this in. So I put complete if relevant, but if it is relevant, you can add that in. Similarly, if you want to add a new objective, so if I click into here, so I can give some examples of these rules. The last one, if I put, for example, I can share these rules with a trusted adult or something along those lines. So I've just put it in there. It's also going to pop up when I press enter. Just in here, I can share these rules with the trusted adults. Okay, if I delete that, it comes out. Same if I delete any of these ones. So that one, say what a keyboard is used for, is here at the moment. If I delete that, it'll come out, and then you can change it to something different. I'll just put that one back in. But yeah, so that is how those objectives work, and as I mentioned, they're the same. I've done each topic. I've got the objectives. The same thing applies. That will update if you change or add any new objectives. Jumping back onto here, you've got date covered, so we can fill in the date when it was done. Say, for example, you did this lesson today, this objective today, we'd put in 5th of the 10th, 22, for example. So again, you can look and see when you did them. Now you've got drop downs on here, which will be for every child. There's 32 of these coming across. Hopefully that's enough for every class. If you have a class of 33, then I can add an extra column. Just ask me and I'll do it for you. But yeah, essentially, if you press onto here, so you've got a formula which you don't need to worry about, just kind of ignore that for the time being. I'll explain what's happening there in a moment. But you've also got purple, which would be exceeding, green would be they've kind of met the objectives, yellow partly, red, they didn't really get it, and then if they're absent as well. So you've got those that you could sort each child individually. Very similar to the old tracker that we used to have, where you could kind of color code what they achieved. But I've also put in this flood fill. Now you can see we've got the colours along here. I would expect, hopefully, unless I've really misunderstood the lesson, that most of them are going to be green. So what you can do is type into where it says flood fill the word green, and then when I press enter, it flood fills all of them to be green. Then, if there's anybody, say that Olivia was absent, I can change that to absent and the colour changes. Now, as soon as you do that, that formula has now disappeared. All that means is that if I was to then change this, let's say actually they were all a bit hit and miss with it, so I'll change to yellow, the rest of them will change because the formula hasn't disappeared, but that one, I've taken the formula off. So you could either just change it like that, or what you could do, so I know that one, you can see here still has that formula, so I could just copy that and paste it there, so that if I wanted to change all of them again, so let's go back to green, now I've put the formula back in, it will change all of them. I don't think you're going to really need to worry about those formula type parts. All that you need to do is flood fill and then change the children that are necessary. So put a couple of purple for exceeded, Harry didn't make it, Olivia almost there, that type of thing. Okay, and then you can really quickly and easily see which children have achieved what. And again, same thing, I'll just show you on this one. So if I just type in absence on them, and hopefully the whole class wouldn't be absent, but do that, and then they should. Oh, I don't think I did it for the absent because obviously you wouldn't have that many that would flood fill. All the other colours should. Let's try. Yellow, red. Yeah, the other colours work. I've forgotten my own formulas here. Purple. So I didn't flood fill for absent because, yeah, I think when I did it, I must have thought you wouldn't have majority absent. But then if a child is absent, obviously you can just change it. Okay, so this will, if you use your class iPads, you can log in using your Google details on Google Drive, and you can actually access it on an iPad. It might be worth having a look at and trying if you regularly use the iPads. Alternatively, you can access this on your computer. And hopefully it shouldn't take long to do, but it's a running record of what the children have done in the lessons. A lot of the computing, you don't actually have any physical marking to do. So, it could be a case of a quick scan around to see which children are getting it, which children aren't. You could even build into your lesson a time when you can actually go around and see, right, show me what you've done, and then you could judge where they would be on this. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully that makes sense. If there's anything that isn't clear, then please do ask me, and I'll be happy to go through it in more detail. Okay, thanks everyone.